History of the first village Chitalishte in Bulgaria. The church and the school are the most important public places in every village because they are the homes of the spiritual, historical and social development of the people. In the Bulgarian towns and villages, there is, however, another place that takes care of the nurturing of the community, the Chitalishte, or community center. The first Chitalishte appeared during the Renaissance in the middle of the 19th century in response to the need of people of various ages and education to get together, exchange knowledge and experience various cultural events. The first village Chitalishte in Bulgaria opened in Smyadovo. It was created in 1860 in a small room next to the school in the churchyard. Its initiator was the teacher Georgi Piperkov, who decided to collect books for a village library and later began gathering people after the Sunday service to read to them from various Bulgarian newspapers and fiction. The public reading in everyone's presence is in fact the source of the name Chitalishte. The word translates as place for reading. The residents of Smyadovo named it Bratstvo, brotherhood in English, to signify the unity and equality of all willing to find the light of knowledge there. Several years later, the wealthiest masters of Smyadovo, Tsoni and Ivan, became trustees of the Chitalishte and began securing its supply of Renaissance literature. Newspapers, the short novels of the teacher from Shumen Ilia Bluskov, religious books, and thus the library was compiling. About the same time, the people of Smyadovo discovered the theater. The amateur performances of the first Bulgarian drama stories generated great interest. The hard times put an end to the activities for several years, but in 1876 they were launched again. In the first decades of the 20th century, other Chitalishtes were also opened in the neighboring villages. In 1902, Vasilevsky in Yankovo. 6 years later, Razvitie, or development in English, in Kolnovo. And in 1927 and 28, Razum, conscience in English, in Veselinovo, and Obrazovanie, education in English, in Rish. At the beginning of the 20th century, the residents of Smyadovo decided to build a new, larger Chitalishte, but the crisis during and after World War I postponed the implementation. The construction started only after 1938, and many of the residents joined with money or voluntary labor. The work was slow, and World War II intensified the problems. But in 1948, with the help of the district council, the building was finally completed. Spacious and featuring a stage and a hall with 500 seats, 2 dressing rooms, a library, a small hall, offices, a museum room, and a child music school room. For its 100th anniversary, the Bratstvo Chitalishte was awarded one of the highest state prizes, the Cyril and Methodius Order, first degree. At that time, the first authentic folklore groups were formed, a male orchestra and a choir. The fates of famous Bulgarians, among them the opera diva Alexandra Milcheva and the piano player Professor Milena Molova, are associated with the activity of this cultural center. Today, the Chitalishte is still the cultural soul of Smyadovo. The Biala Neda folklore group from Smyadovo, the Black Mummers from Veselinovo, and the rest of the Chitalishte formations have preserved the traditions of this Bulgarian region, voice its celebrations, and present its songs and dances at regional and national fairs. The library enriches its fund continuously, and along with that uses electronic technologies to broaden its scope towards more diverse information. Thus the world enters Smyadovo, but at the same time, Smyadovo shows the world its rich history and young identity. Потича е, гиди малкото моми.
Chitalishte.